Good evening, everyone. After a very, very long time in front of you, and let's discuss about the big news about what's happening with the investor side. But before I present my PPT, and then we'll open the floor for question answer. Just a disclaimer that this webinar is just to enhance your understanding about the equity market. Past performance is no indicator of future returns. And please consult your financial advisor before buying and selling any stock. Now, if you look at it, there is a news which came that, SME IPO, 8 employees with very little sales and net profit, 4,000 crore plus the amount company received in a subscription. What does it indicate? It indicates clearly that people really don't know which company they're applying for. What is the fundamental of the company and so on and so forth. There is a clear-cut momentum play that's happening in the market. That's a classical case of that, I really sincerely don't know how many investors would have bothered to look at the DRHP of the company. How many investors, when they apply in the IPO, knew that this company has only 8 employees, 2 showrooms of a Yamaha bike, and got more than 4,000 crore subscription? How many investors would have done that? At least the basic test. What's the turnover of the company? What is the net profit of that company? Forget about that IPO, SME IPO. How many times investors are even looking at in the main board IPO? Okay, what this company does, what are the net profit, what are the sales, and so on and so on. Have no idea at all about this. Am I right? And I think that's a cause of concern. So what I've done, actually, I've just quickly compiled. I need to just little early today because of some urgency that I just got a call. So we'll try to keep my presentation a little quickly. I'll run through that. And then we'll have a very brief question answer. So what if you look at it, the SME IPOs are going up substantially. Last year in FY 2024, we saw 6,000 crore IPO been raised, that the money has been raised, which was 2,235, and then, it was less than 1,000 crore. And somewhere in 2018-19, we saw very more than 1,000 crore amount being raised to the SME IPO. And number of IPOs issues also increased to 205, which is the first time it crossed 200 level. Am I right? And the way it is happening till 31st July, okay, 3,000 crore is almost raised. Okay, just 4 months, 84 IP. Most probably, if there is no stoppage, I think it will surpass what happens to 2024. Now, I'm just looking at why is that happening. What is it basically that is driving this SME IPO? Definitely, the demand from the investors is huge actually. Okay, and if you look at the size of the SME IPOs, the maximum was 190 crore. That's a issue size, and the minimum has been 2 crore. Now, this smaller size IPOs are the best target for the manipulators, the speculators. Quantity hoti nahi hai market mein zyada, because promoters would have a larger stake, low floating stock, very few thousand shareholders. And also I'm going to discuss that in my PPT. And it can be easily manipulated. And that's the advantage the manipulators are doing, speculators are doing. And retail investors are also participating knowingly fully that this company can go up on the list. It can give me listing gain as well as the post-listing gains. And I'll show you that data also on that. And due to that, the number of times IPOs are getting subscribed, 701, 962, is a crazy things. Am I right? The very fact that when IPOs get subscribed almost 1,000 times, that means there is something wrong with the pricing by the merchant banker. Why should the script can oversubscribe so many times? Am I right? No, this is nothing wrong with the pricing by the merchant banker. It is sheer desire to make quick bucks that is drawing lot of investors to the SME IPO, and that has become a more like a apply करो, allot हो जाएगा, बेच दो, पैसा बना दो. No one is bothered to look at what the company is doing, क्या है, कुछ पढ़ा नहीं है. It's just sheer momentum play that market is basically believing in. If you look at which sector, I mean, mostly they have come from the trading sector, which you all know what does it mean actually in that sense, okay? But if you look at the listing gains, okay, very few IPOs actually, 82% of the SME IPOs have given listing gain. And more than 40% has given more than 20% gain. Now what happens? अगर आपको 20% gain मिलता है, why would you not apply? Am I right? That's the thing. So for number one, probability of the company getting listing on the with the gains is high. Number one. Number two, you can expect near about 20% gain. If that is so, it makes a deadly combo for investors for to do that. If you look at what happens after post listing also, does the script goes down? The answer is no. After listing and also the script we have observed, it further moves up. 63% of the company further moved up from the listing, and that's really drawing investors to SME. My advice to all of you, the data I want to say is that be careful. I know हवा का झोंका तेज है, benefit हो रहा है. You never know where you can go wrong. So I'm not saying don't apply. Even SEBI chairperson has basically recently warned about that. At least see what company does. Because some of these SME IPOs may not have a good corporate governance. The finance may not be sustainable if there is a downturn in the economy. And I don't want, like I remember in 1993 when, those days 3 crore IPO size, 75 lakhs minimum issue size because 25% public shareholding. Many of these companies are not available today, not to be seen today. I don't want your money to become zero because the 100%, if the companies stop getting traded, the value comes down to zero. So be careful. I'm not saying don't apply, but be careful of what you are getting into. And once you are taking a conscious decision, then you know what action you are doing. That's what my advice to all of you. FOMC, I think it's a given thing that in September there will be a rate cut. No, there is nothing called no rate cut. People have now not discussing when. People are discussing how and how much. I think that's what people. So 25 bips rate cut, 63.5% probability, and 50 bips rate cut, 36.5% probability on 18 September. The beauty is that the market is budgeting anywhere between 75 to 125 bips rate cut in the next 3 FOMC meeting. Am I right? So that's what is going to happen. So that's what the market is budgeting, and that's why the market, and there is a huge amount of money which has been parked in the money market mutual fund that can come back to the equity market. That's what the hypothesis is. We don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But today, people are not talking about hoga ke nahi hoga. People are saying kitna hoga. And I think that's a big change that has happened in the last 30 days or so. Monsoon has really done well. It started recovering. I think sowing has also been better. I think hopefully we should expect the agri output should be better than the last year, and that should ease to some extent the food inflation. Market did well. Nifty up by 1.75, mid cap 1.5, and small cap did underperform in this 1 week, last 7 days. Again, the mid and small cap are up in excess of 30%, and Nifty and Sensex are up by about 15% both. And each and every leading indices are in the green. If you look at it, the best performing sector today continues to remain CPSE, followed by auto, pharma, and the realty. FIIs actually in 1 day they bought 14,000 crore, and due to that 7,320 crore positive FIIs have become in the month to date. And if you look at it, YTD, they are pumping near about 43,000 crore in first 8 months of the 2024. With this, I've just concluded I've rushed through that, to be very honest with you, for the very simple reason I need to rush because of some urgency. So we'll have few questions and then we will meet again next week, because I'm doing my Equity Outlook webinar on next Tuesday. Am I right? And that time we can take more questions. But let's open the floor. Ratan Kumar says, stop applying for IPO for last year, so due to crazy oversubscription. When are you having your IPO? Sir, we have not started the process of our own IPO. We have not hired any merchant banker. We don't know whether we want to go IPO so soon. Eventually, we may go for IPO, but right now, we are not doing anything of that sort. So, as and when we start doing that, we'll come in front of you. We'll discuss more about that. And thanks for your question. Yeah. Sunil Bhausar, what max upside left in Nifty according to your judgment? Sir, my judgment is going completely haywire. I'll be very honest with you. I think this market completely having a liquidity. Liquidity has been so strong. And I was discussing with someone other day. What happened in the month? What happened when this the yen credit trade happened? The crisis happened. The US market, the Japanese market went down by more than 10%. Indian market did react negative, but did not so much. So what it shows is clearly resilience in there. So I have basically now stopped looking at what could go upside. This is a market where liquidity is so strong, it can go to any level. So what is the upside limited? Could be anything. What I've realized in one thing in this market is that don't try to see how much upside. Look at how do you see the market from 3 to 5? Because when you try to look at too short term, your thoughts will get clouded by the short term outlook, and due to that, you might do something which you otherwise would not have done it. So what I've done actually, instead of looking at too short term, I started looking at little long term, medium to long term, to see whether will I be able to make money from this level also if I have a 3 years time horizon. And my answer and my assessment tells me, even from this level, if I have to talk to you maybe in August 2027, the Nifty would be much higher level than what it is today. So I've stopped looking at short term and try to figure it out what could be the further upside from this level. Rahul Kumar saying, with good number of small and mid cap stocks coming in the Mojo list, please confirm PM's portfolio have started taking exposure to small cap companies. Yes, sir, Rahul Kumarji, in our PMS, we have started taking exposure to the small cap. We are increasing our exposure to mid cap. Yes, we have started doing that. Prasad, good evening. Yesterday, ET reported Jim Rogers' view that recession in US coming soon. Next market crash will be the worst, suggesting to keep cash. What is your view, please? Thanks. I think what has happened is that, one second, can you put me on hold, please? Sorry, my apology. So, see, the Jim Rogers has been predicting very often. So, I don't comment on other people's opinion because they are experts. They may be right. Whether recession in the US is coming soon, people have been talking about recession even in the first week of August. And then we all know this is the fastest ever recovery happened in the US market, where 10% corrections in the month of August and 100% has been recovered, whatever the correction happened. So, and unfortunately, so when the market sentiment goes negative, you hear more negative news. When the market sentiment goes positive, you hear more positive news. I'll give you my opinion, how I look at it. I don't read too much into this kind of an opinion. I distinctly recollect almost in 2023, in one of the leading newspaper of India, one of the expert wrote a very gloom and doom kind of a scenario in the editorial page for the Indian market. And that time we had Infinity service. And this customer of ours, who was an Infinity customer, sent across that clipping to us saying that this is what is looking like हम लोग को बेच के निकल जाना चाहिए. And I said, we have a due respect in market. I'm not on Indian economy. I do understand that. But it's not going to be that could be more of a knee-jerk reaction that can happen. But then what would happen if the US is going to go recession or something that happen, more money can come to the emerging markets, more fund flow can come to the emerging markets. And in a way, it could be a blessing in disguise for the Indian market. My sense is that actually. So you don't basically take investment decision based on whether US is going to go in recession or not for the Indian market. I don't think I will. So first thing that is going to happen, no one has a certainty handle on that. Number one. Number two, if it doesn't happen, there could be a knee-jerk reaction that can happen to the Indian market. But is it going to damage too much to the Indian equity market? The answer is no. Mukesh is saying, what would be a prediction on NBFC if RBI cuts interest rates? Regards. If RBI cuts rate of interest, I think everyone will get benefit. So is the case with NBFCs. Only thing right now, NBFCs, we need to be a little careful in terms of there could be a possibility of higher NPA resulting into purely because of people's ability to repay is a one factor that RBI has been warning time and again. So if the assessment is right, quality of assessment is right, then it's fine. If the quality of assessment is not right, and if NBFC is chasing growth, which may not be a good healthy growth, then it can result into an NPA. But RBI cutting rate of interest, I think normally is a positive for banks and NBFCs. Market index is continuously going up. Sunita Mahajan is saying going up since last 18 days. What goes up comes down. Law of gravity not effective. Please suggest course of action for us. Should we wait for a deep correction? Please not, as all scripts are not going up also. So Sunita ji, what we have done that we had kept certain money in liquid funds in our PMS. We were also expecting market to correct. Did not happen. So we are fully invested now. My suggestion would be, please deploy funds. Only thing, be careful of what you get into. So your stock selection criteria has to be extremely good. That's what my advice would be at this point of time. Dinakaran said, and Satish said, nice to see after a long time when stocks get listed under Mojo with score 85, but valuation is expensive. What should we do? Please advise. God bless you always. Thanks a lot, sir, for your good wishes. You should look at only the score of the company, because score is a function of from last 1 year. Should we continue to hold, or if sector is happening to FMCG, banks, IT, should we sell infra and move to these items? So my answer would be very simple. Look at each company based on its merit. In the bad sectors, some companies can always outperform, and in the good sectors, some companies can always underperform. So even if you're holding for next 1 year or last 1 year or so, what happens? Does this company has enough steam left? If the company projections are good, company fundamentals are good, growth is likely to be good, don't get out. There is no point getting it out. The company may underperform for 2-3 months, that's a different story. But then, don't be in a rush to get out of it. So my request would be stock specific rather than brushing everything with the same color. What is the future of defense sector which currently going under correction? You advise to hold or come out, please. So Venu sir, we have said time and again that many of the business, not all, I harp on the word, not all, but many of these defense companies, they are running little ahead of the fund. So the business is good actually. They will have a good growth in the business, not only domestic, even the exports also. But many of these companies are running ahead of the fundamentals. So the business will do well, the valuations are so rich that limits the upside. Am I right? So many of these defense companies may underperform, which have their, in fact, someone told me that one of the defense mutual fund that came out with scheme that came out last month or one before that is down by 13-14%. That the defense team, that scheme which is only invest in defense company. So that's kind of a correction that we have seen. So business looks good, but I think the risk reward is not very favorable. So my mota, I would rather to go more stock specific than this. But as a sector, I do sense that can underperform. Uh, you are also stating that you should apply in good SME IPO. When any SME IPO opens, can you state market your view like main IPO for benefit of all our customers who wants to get benefit of this momentum? Thank you. To Zambia sir, what we are saying is that understand the IPO. You are suggesting that we should analyze SME IPO. Unfortunately, we don't have that much bandwidth, to be very honest with you. Am I right? But suggestion taken, we will see if we can increase our bandwidth and if we can also analyze SME IPO. See, remember my worry is that, these IPOs or these companies are so small, one has to really do more due diligence before applying that. And we are not very sure we will be able to do justice to that actually. But nonetheless, let me discuss internally if we can do that, we'll definitely try to do that. If not all, at least some of the SME IPOs. Nimesh Khan is saying, MarketsMojo, no need of money, on all are wealthy, filthy, rich, and transparent. Love the team MarketsMojo for guiding innovation with lot of trust, integrity, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. I know we are all wealthy, but there is no definition of what wealth is enough. That's the challenge that everyone needs to basically fight for. Am I right? The India's most or the world's most wealthy person still work. Am I right? And he still he has a more desire to make more money. Am I right? You're right. But eventually, we also want our investors to be part of our wealth creation journey, and we will go public, sir and Nimesh sir, but at appropriate time. Right now, it's not on the agenda. Let's take last 3 questions in the interest of the time, if you don't mind, Amil. Vinith is saying, since there are inclusion of small and mid-cap companies in Mojo stock and PMS, there is a revision for Nifty target for 2024. So to be honest with you, like someone also asked me, I think this market undercurrent is so strong in terms of momentum. I stopped looking at the target now because whatever target you put, I think it's going to breach the target. That's what has happened. So I have not revised any target, but nonetheless, I do realize that market has a strong momentum. There is a strong tailwind that is helping the market to go further. So valuations are rich. I'm not saying valuations are not rich, but somehow the liquidity is driving the valuations further high. I don't know when it will stop. So there is no point basically, because if I give you some target here, I think you will get colored in your thoughts in terms of an investment process, which I don't want to do that. Because what we have happened, we have been saying that market valuations are rich since March. We are in the month of August and we don't see any meaningful correction that has happened in the market on a sustained basis. We did see some pockets of correction. We did not sustain it further, but moved up. Am I right? So I don't want to color your thoughts, and you will take call on the market. You will not invest, and then you will miss out, which I don't want. So I am saying, please forget about what the Nifty looks like. Your thought process should be today, yes, I want to invest in the equity market, but my due diligence on the stock selection will be 2x as compared to what I would have done in the normal market. That's what my request would be. So don't take any cash call. Don't try to see what Nifty 50 could be, because anything can happen in short run. Am I right? I said I'm going to remain invested in good quality companies. Even if there is a correction, this good quality company will sustain the downturn and it will bounce back. And that's what my advice would be. I'm exactly doing what I'm doing in my personal portfolio. I'm advising you to do that. And that's something similar we are doing in our PMS also. Second last question, please. Jitendra, why is SEBI allowing as low as 2 crore from a public market? Should the minimum size not be at least 50 crore? Jitendra sir, there are pros and cons. Sometimes we say, there is not enough, encouragement for the small players to grow up in the life. And that's the reason why SME IPOs have been allowed. And mind you, these SME IPOs are not vetted by the SEBI. It's not been cleared by the SEBI. It's cleared by the respective exchange, either BSE or the NSE, that which get listed. Am I right? There are pros and cons, because we also want our small entrepreneurs to grow up in life. Am I right? Now, if we say 50 crore, then small company can say, how do we raise our capital? The banks will not lend the capital, and if we need the funds, where do we go? And capital market is one way to basically raise the funds. So there are pros and cons. Only thing, I think we need more amount of a checks and balance to see that the quality of company that come in SME IPO are better. In case if it doesn't happen, I think a lot of people are going to burn their fingers very badly. The last question for the day, I'm sorry, but I need to go for the urgency. Markets Mojo advise small cap Mojo stocks last year. So please advise, should I take exposure in small cap Mojo stocks? The answer is yes, Niraj sir. Please go ahead and buy. Had we not if we are not supposed to invest, they would not have become a Mojo stocks. The very fact that they become Mojo stock, that means yes, you go ahead and please buy that. With this, thanks a lot everyone taking time out and attending this webinar. I know I'm cutting it short because I have some emergency to attend that. I'll come back to you again Tuesday and see you till such time. Good night. Take care. Great weekend.